Alright, so let's talk about stress. Stress is something that everybody talks about, like we gotta manage stress and reduce stress as though it's a bad thing. But stress is actually a really good thing as well. It's the currency by which your body responds to change. Now understand, stress is both a good stress, a eustress, and a bad stress is a distress. So those two things can be coexistent. Without stress, your body doesn't have anything to respond to get better. Like exercise and training. You are stressing your body, your lungs, your muscles, your bones, your ligaments and joints, but because of that, they get stronger and our bodies can adapt to that, which is an amazing thing. But too much stress, generally in the form of chronic stress where we don't have a good control over it or we don't feel like it's gonna get better, that is when our body starts to have adverse effects and reactions to that stress and we no longer respond well, and that's where we can have things like anxiety, the lack of stress, we start to gain weight, we start to lose muscle, we start to lose energy, we have a lack of focus and drive. Those are the negative effects of being overtrained and overstressed. Now, there's 6 main types of stressors in life. There's physical, anything with your body; mental, anything with your brain; emotional, things that have to do with expressing emotions and feeling things; social, that have to do with your interactions with other people, your friends, family, etc. Your existential, so your purpose, your identity, what you like, what you feel, how engaged and connected you feel with the world around you. And then your environmental, so that could be something like a global pandemic, it could be something like a tornado or a flood, anything that's going on in the environment around you. It could even be pollution if you're in a heavy city and you can't get out. So understand that stress is not just one thing. There's 6 different types of stresses that can affect you. And within that, there's 2 different lengths. There's acute stressors and chronic stressors. Acute stressors are generally good. They're like the bear that jumps out at you. If you're a caveman, you have to run away from that. Or you have a test you have to deal with and study for. Those things are good. It's just like a workout or training session. They're one or short-term things that our body responds to and gets better. Chronic stresses, on the other hand, are stresses that last for a long period of time. And those can be problematic because what they're doing is they're overloading the body, and they generally are accompanied by a feeling that I don't know when this is going to end, it's ongoing, it's out of my control, and that is where we start to feel helpless and have adverse reactions to that stressor. So there's 2 ways we can manage stress. We can look and say, is this a good stress or a bad stress? If it's a good stress, okay, let me deal with this and work through it and recover from it. So if I have a hard workout, let me deal with it, work out, and then get my sleep and eating to recover. If I have a test, let me study, prepare, do this, and then take a mental break. Those are actively dealing with it. Now, on the other hand, when you have things like chronic stresses, those are situations where you have to step back and say, is this benefiting me? Can I control this? Can I change it? If I can change it, I need to do something different for myself. If I can't control it, I need to learn to cope with it or get away from the situation. But sitting in the middle of doing nothing is not, that paralyzing fear of sitting in the middle, not changing in response to a long-term chronic stress is not a good option, because that will never get you to a place of feeling better and moving forward. Now, understand the stress is not a bad thing, it is a very good thing, but only when you can control the duration and the length of it and use it in a way that actually benefits you. To wrap this up, the 3 things you can best do to manage your stress are going to be to sleep, to get enough sleep to make sure your brain and body are recovering well, make sure that you're breathing and practicing mindfulness. That's going to create the space in your head to be able to step into so that you're not overwhelmed all the time. And then looking at movement and exercise. Exercise is a physical way of dealing with problems. That's the way our body's evolved. Now, if we have something that's going on existentially, or we have a test or something's making us nervous, we can't always deal with that. Our bodies don't really know how to process that because we're used to it. We evolved in a situation where a bear runs at me, I run away. A physical problem, a physical solution. So in the same way, when we move and we sweat, our body releases toxins, and we also have the natural endorphin release. So if you feel stressed and anxious, get outside, do a workout, you will feel so much better. So those 3 things: sleep, practice mindfulness, and get outside and get movement in. Those are going to be amazingly helpful to manage that stress.